Welcome back to the channel. Sam and Cole here. Guys, we're going to do all the preseason maintenance for your snowmobile to get ready for the season. Stay tuned. All right, guys, before we jump into what you need to do to get your sleds ready for the winter, if you guys want to rent a snowmobile from us, we've partnered with UtahSnowmobileRental.com here in Utah. So if you guys are located here in Utah, go check it out. You can rent a mountain sled. We have some of the best terrain for snowmobiling in the world, so go check it out. Cole, what are we going to do to these sleds today?
So we're going to check the belt tension to start with, and then we're going to check we're going to change the chain case oil first, and then we'll check chain tension, and then we'll check the track tension.
So those are some of the basic things you need to do to get ready for the season. They're really important. A lot of guys skip those steps. This can help you get out there, be out in the wilderness, snowmobiling, and not break down. So you want to make sure you do this to your sled. Now, obviously, this is going to be on a 2024 Summit X Turbo R. So you know, this is going to be for the Skidoos, but you definitely need to do the same thing for any of the other manufacturers like Arctic or Polaris as well. So we're going to start tearing into that. Now, if you guys don't want to get your snowmobile ready, don't worry, we'll do that for you. So if you want to visit UtahSnowmobileRentals.com, there's a link in the description below. We'll do that for you and get you guys set up for winter.
When we're checking the belt tension, what I like to look for is I like to be able to see you've got the ridges and the valleys. I like to see just a little bit below the valleys when
yeah, so this belt right now is too low, so we need to bring it basically up in the secondary clutch.
So we're going to loosen we're going to get that nut out here a little bit more.
I do the same thing. I would go back and forth.
Spin the clutch. Yeah. Keep it on the dolly. Work it up here. Okay, gotta go a little bit more.
So basically, we're just trying to bring the belt was too low in the secondary clutch, so we're trying to bring it up a little bit. Make it a little easier. Oh.
There we go. Now we went just a little bit too far. So we'll tighten this up a little bit on it. Okay, so I can see just barely below the bottom of the valleys in the clutch right here. That's about where I like it. And then the other thing that I like to do is hold it together right here and make sure that I can spin it on the clutch just a little bit if I hold it together. So that one's pretty good. Okay. So if you're going to change the belt on this sled, thread it in right here. Keep this tight when you do it. Thread this in here. What this is doing is it's pushing actually this layer of your secondary. It's pushing that back, releasing the tension on the belt. Spreading your clutch apart, and then I just start right here, work it out. Work it out of the primary. So now I'm ready for a new belt. And then we'll run this one as a spare. So now when you install your belt, it has the rotation arrows. You want those to point towards the front of the sled. You want to be able to read the numbers on the belt as you're facing the side of the sled right here. So 417-300-571, made in the USA. Okay. So now we're going to want to start the back. There we go. Work that on there. And then so this is also something you can do on the mountain if you blow your belt, which has happened many times. Let's start it real quick and Okay, so now we're gonna check our belt tension, which you always wanna do when you change the belt or put a new belt on, or just before the season and every few rides. But this one is right where I like it already. So I can see just below the valleys in the belt. So this little plug right here is where you want your oil to be. So if you're just checking your chain case oil and not changing it, you'll just pull your plug right here, and you want the chain case oil to be right there at the bottom of the plug. And there's not any oil there, so it's a little bit low. And then if you're changing it, you come down here and there is a drain plug. So there we go. We got our chain case oil drained. Now to fill your chain case, which we'll do after we put the drain plug back in, so we don't just dump it all in the bucket. But you pull this, it's easiest to pull this packing out from behind your exhaust to get it out of your way. And then you just take your screwdriver, blade screwdriver, and pop this little rubber grommet that is the breather. Carefully so you don't break wiring harnesses or tear your grommet. Pull that out, hang it up out of your way for a second. When your oil is completely done draining, I'll take and put it back up in here. Put the drain plug back in. So you do not have to split the case to change your drain to change your chain case oil. You can if you want to, but there's an easier way. Pour into this. Yeah, it'll be close to the whole bottle. Not the whole thing. Get a flashlight right here. And just pour slow so it doesn't find its way out the hole as you go.
Coming out yet?
Nope, not yet.
It's like almost the whole bottle. It's the whole bottle.
It takes a minute for it to run down through the whole case because it's
Cold.
heavy oil. Well, it's heavy oil, so it moves slowly. So you can see the oil now. It's right below the bottom of that little sight plug. So if you just buy the Skidoo bottle, it's the perfect amount of gear oil. Put the upper plug back in. You don't have to be super tight, just snug. Remember to put the vent back on the chain case. So now this sled is ready to go. So usually whenever you're draining oil, you want to pull out the top plug first so that it vents and you get all the oil out. There's the oil. Want to come pour some oil for us again, Sam? 12 fluid ounces. So there's your oil capacity for the chain case. And now on these turbos, it's especially important to make sure that your chain case oil is good and that your chain tension is tight, because they put a lot of tension on those chain cases with all that horsepower. So you want to make sure that you don't blow up a chain case, because then you'll be walking home.
So why do guys change to a belt?
So there's ups and downs to the belt drive. We have a sled with a belt drive and we have chain driven sleds. The belt drive is less maintenance, and
In theory, you could carry
if
a
you
belt.
if you break your belt, it's a lot cheaper than if you destroy your chain drive.
How do they hold up with the turbo, though?
Pretty good. That's the sled that we have is a 165. We bought it from Brett Rasmussen when I worked for Brett,
Yeah.
and it's a fun sled. I have blown a belt on it, but it was when I was towing out another sled.
Which is
Towing out a Polaris, and hit a ditch and blew the belt drive. So.
And mountain sleds aren't meant to tow things, guys.
No, they're not. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So we can see again our oil level is right there, bottom of the drain plug. So we're good to go. Go ahead and clean up the drain plug and screw it back in here. Go ahead and put the vent back in. Make sure the back seats completely. So this is all stuff too that you can check on the mountain. If you're riding and you decide, oh, my belt feels a little bit loose, or I need to check my chain case tension, the tools that you need are all in the little cover on your sled. So now to check the chain case tension, what we want to do, we're going to lock the park brake. We're going to come over here and wiggle the clutch just a little bit. And we want just a little bit of play in that secondary clutch to be able to move it just a little. So we're gonna go just a little bit tighter. It's pretty good. So we come around here to the adjuster, and there's a little pin that you have to remove, and then use that little T25. We're gonna tighten it up just a little bit. Coming back over here, we just went about a quarter of a turn. We could even go just a little bit more, so we're gonna go another quarter of a turn, so we've got about a half in all.
Cole, like when you're, like, what are you testing? Like the slop in the
So you're
secondary?
testing the slop it's the slop in your chain case,
In
but
your
you
chain
can feel
case.
it from your secondary clutch if you lock the park brake. So you
So
lock
that's
the
the
park
key.
brake, and now I have just very little slop in my secondary clutch, and you want a little bit because you don't want to be too tight, but you want it to be snug. So you want to have just a little bit of slop, and then we'll go ahead and slip the pin back in here. So this belt, we've got a little bit of more slop than we'd like, so we do what we did on the other side, pull out the little pin, come right here, we'll go about a quarter of a turn. Come back over here. It's pretty good. You don't want to go too tight, but you do want to be snug so that, again, you don't blow your chain case apart. Which, as lots of people know, was kind of a problem with these. Put the pin back in here. So when you tighten your track, this one's feeling pretty good. So I like to, if you can push your track down with one finger until it starts to hurt, you should have like half an inch of play. And then we're gonna come right here and put the end wrench right here between the this little knob on the track and the Hyfax. So we're about the wrench's width there. And then if we come to this side, put it in the same spot. It's just a little bit tighter on this side. So we want to true up the track a little bit. So to do that, I need 15 millimeter. So we're taking right here on the axle nut, and we're going to just loosen this. So once that nut is loose, now I need 10. So now we want to run it so that it goes further, so that it pushes this side of the track closer to the high facts. So we're going to go righty-tighty to push that axle back a little bit. So we went. Okay. So we went way too much. As you can see, it pulled it way over. So a little bit goes a long ways. Once you spin the track, so we're gonna go back just a little, couple little half turns. We're gonna start it back up. So pretty snug right there on that side. Come over here, feels about the same. So now we'll tighten that axle nut back up with 15 millimeters. And that's how we check our track tension and our, to make sure it's true. Just like a dirt bike, you wanna make sure it's true.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, hit us up in the comments below. We will be doing a bunch more video content around snowmobiling. We got Cole here who is gonna do some really fun stuff. We got a lot of good content. So we got some comparisons. We got how-tos all around snowmobiling, so you guys don't wanna miss that. So stay tuned this winter.
See who can change a belt the fastest.
No, we know you can change the belt the fastest. Like, I mean, Logan might be faster than me, and I've changed belts before.
Remember when we did this on the mountain, Sam?
Yeah, on that.
Because they were both, and mine.
It was like ratcheting, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What the heck is going on?" And it was like, this.
So that's why you do it in the shop, because it's a lot easier in the shop.
And you do it pre-season, and you're not out on the
Pre-season.
mountain.
Yeah.
Do your maintenance.
When your track starts ratcheting,
You're in
well,
trouble.
remember this video.